104 today.
70, about 20 degrees better for next one.
Yeah. I just keep giving my wallet to PG.
Right.
Yeah. So I got your email, I think it's a good idea.
No, I just get on them every week when something starts.
Agree with you on that.
Add $100.
If we did that, that would be a little fall behind it. But we can talk about that.
People
It's a good
store it
project.
on paying hard.
Right, we can put it somewhere where it's lit and. That's what you asked for, it's not.
5:59. It's 5:59.
So, I think that's something that I can bring before the Masons, so.
It's 17 pages long.
Hey Baker, before we get started, were you able to get in your emails and all, or talk to CIO?
Not yet. I'll try to do it tomorrow morning.
Okay, they're pretty quick, so. Rita just went through it too, so.
They were all confused. So confused.
Where'd you get it?
Yeah, I got in, but it took a little bit. And then they had to, I said, I only get that emails on this phone. They're like, let's do it on your desktop. Nope. Well, okay, if you think. And then he's like, trying to get into my computer and stuff like that. Oh, so you have it right here. No, that's not.
That's not.
I'm not an employee.
You know.
I have my own business. Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Call to order.
6 p.m.
Okay.
I got it. Let's do a roll call. Director Baker?
Here.
Director Gregory? Here. Director Calvins?
Present.
Director Davis?
Here.
Director Smiley?
Here.
We're all here. I need a motion to approve the special meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Tie. What do you expect?
I got Anthony Calvin, second by Director Baker. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Let's do the pledge of allegiance.
Please rise to the pledge of allegiance. Please burn the flag, hats off, right hand of your heart. Vigorously salute. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Public comment and communications for items not on the agenda. Persons wishing to speak on a matter that's not on the agenda may be heard at this time. However, no action will be taken until placed on future agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Please sign in and address the elected. Do I have any public comment? No, seeing none. Hearing none. Okay, we'll move on.
Got a picture.
Next item, 6, board action item. Amendment number 2 for Machado wastewater treatment facility design contract with Wallace Group, Inc. for the Machado wastewater treatment facility expansion and upgrade.
Thank you. So what this is this is amendment number 2, in amount of $410,300 to account for additional time and resources to process some additional changes that were made after amendment number 1. And the main focus is to process changes related to change of the treatment train from 2 separate treatment trains to 1 single train, which will ultimately save approximately $1.2 million on the treatment process cost, and then potentially $120,000 a year in labor and chemicals to administer that. So their proposal is attached with a breakdown of everything, all the different tasks that are being performed, and so I don't know how much or little you guys want to go through.
Okay, so looking for board comment. Start with you.
Yeah, I'll start. So, this is a lot of money. This is $800,000 to start, another $400,000. So what body of work has been completed?
So right now we're at 90%. So the 90% of the entire project. 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 90% of the So what that is that is all the site improvements, the building improvements, the site improvements being surfaces, but also all the underground infrastructure, building the treatment process, the trains are, those are contracted to Closina, so the slab and everything above the slab is Closina's. But all of our design at this point has to account for what that is and all the connections to that. So basically that's where we're getting to right now.
So we spent $800,000, which is 90% of the project. Now it's going to cost another $400,000 for just, that doesn't really add up to me.
So some of the tasks that are being, or some of the cost is for other changes that occurred along the way that would have been a separate change order. The majority of the cost is related to the change from the 2 treatment trains to 1 treatment train.
Okay, so it mentions that this is like new technology apparently that we got from the Cal Poly project.
So Closina is constantly evolving and improving. So the methodology in treatment is what's, quote unquote, new. The principles behind it are old and have been tried and true for decades and decades. So it really, through each generation of their treatment process, they get better and better and better. I mean, even if we stay with the exact same treatment process that we had with the 2 different trains, that's already, probably 20% better than it would have been if we had bought it on day 1 of the contract.
So what's the timeline on that Cal Poly project? Is that, where are we? Where are they? Because it sounds like this is kind of a short window to me, and all of a sudden they've got this new technology that popped up within, well, like I guess a few months. And it seems like they started this project, unless, like I said, unless this is just some brand new discovery, but they probably knew what was going on, or had an inkling of what was going on, and maybe didn't say anything, or like they're milking this deal, because I have a hard opinion on consultants and other fees for public entities. It just seems like to me it's a license to steal. So I'm really concerned. We pay these guys $800,000. So do you know what the timeline was, Cal Poly deal? And then you said it's going to save $125,000? How do you know that? What was the initial projected annual operating cost of that? There's a lot of numbers getting flown out that I'm having a hard time to really.
So on the surface, there is going to be, or projected to be, an initial savings of $1.2 million over what we were originally
As a capital cost.
as a capital cost. The projection at $125,000 per year savings is an estimate based on the reduction from 2 separate trains that have to be maintained to 1 train that has to be maintained. Now, there is additional equipment in that 1 train, but only having to deal with 1 at a time, or 1 at all, it saves about 50% of the time. So it's not guaranteed that it'll be $125,000 a year savings. That's a projection. So we don't have it yet, so we can't say that.
So the initial estimated operating cost was $250,000.
So it's closer to like $400,000 or $500,000. I don't have that
Okay.
right this minute.
And then it's going back, so where's the Cal Poly project? Or
I have no idea. I don't know where the Cal Poly project is. So they went into contract after us. We had numerous delays. So I doubt that the treatment package that we're proposing that we switch to, I doubt that that was something that was solely a result of a Cal Poly project.
No, but I'm wondering where this new technology, what the timeline was. I mean, is this, as opposed to when they started on our project, where they discovered this with the Cal Poly project? And why we're, after spending, 90% of $800,000, they're coming, oh, by the way, we got a better idea for you.
So So there might be a little bit of confusion because we have a contract with Wallace Group for design. And we have a contract with Closina and FRM for the package plan. So Closina and FRM are the ones that design that package plan, not Wallace Group. Wallace Group is designing the site and everything in the site except for that package plan. So, you know, where along the lines they came up with this M9, which is the proposal, I don't know exactly where along the lines that was a concept and came into reality. Like I said, in dealing with Closina for as long as we have so far, every year it gets better. Every year they learn from their operational issues from the package plant before and improve it and make it better for the next version or next build, I guess. So it's possible that the M9 existed before and was just made more feasible or cheaper, I guess, through collaboration with the Cal Poly project.
So again, so we're going from the 2 train deal to the 1 train, but it seems like the infrastructure is pretty much the same, or it seems the scope of the project is less, but yet it's costing another $400 grand. I just don't see it.
So we look through the amendment or the proposal. It's not, it's not just one thing.
Well, I know it's a lot of things. I'm looking at this and I got Wallace Group initially interpreted this, and then there's like, these guys, we anticipated this, and then so on. It's like, there's so many assumptions. It just seems like it's incredibly sloppy and unprofessional. That there's all these different assumptions, and then we interpreted something, these guys interpreted it another way, and it was like, everything's, if you got a project, everyone's sitting together right now and making sure, hey, we all understand what our scope and what we're responsible for in our project. And on this deal, for me, well, I'm not seeing it. It just, to me, it's incredibly sloppy and unprofessionally done. And then they're, trying to stick us with another $400 grand costs, and I'm just concerned about it. And I just think they're just, dipping into the, it's grant money, it's free money, and, what the hell? I see this in every public agency or entity that I've ever dealt with, and it's just frustrating me. So, that's my spiel.
It is frustrating, Director Baker, and honestly, Wallace Group has, I've seen their work, but there's an unfortunate reality of why if you look at a lot of, like, I'm going to say agency-involved government projects, you'll find Wallace Group attached to them and everything that's gone on in this county. And it's not just Wallace Group. I mean, there's been problems with this project for years. I mean, we're talking about, what's that company? Is it Dudek? What is it?
Dudek was the environmental consultant.
Oh, yeah, and I'm just saying, well, they weren't the greatest either. Delay.
That was a horrible experience.
So literally everything, like, has been the Midas touch with all these consultants. And it's just, I mean, we're going to do another change order. What is the time? How much more delay are we looking at for the, before we even break ground on the sewer plant?
Well, at this point, the delays in design have not really hurt us because we're trying to nail down the grant funds for the construction. The state has put us on the list to be funded, but we have to get into their timeline to be given the money. So although we're on the list and we're eligible to receive it, they can't give it to it obviously until they get it, which most likely won't be this year now. So it'll probably be next year. But the kind of the disappointing, rough, whatever reality of public agencies is the competitive bid. Because we had, in this particular treatment plant project, we started out with our district engineer. We got to a certain point, that office closed, we went to a different engineer for a very short period of time where nothing was done. We went to our current district engineer where they did a little bit, got us to to the point where we can go out to bid. We only received 2 bids, in which Wallace Group was considerably lower. Well,
Is it now?
oh, I know, I've had this conversation multiple times with a bunch of different people. And the reality is the cost difference was so drastic that you can't really assume that, you know, just from what you're reading, it sounds the same. If you took the dollar off of it, you look the same, it looks the same. Then you add the dollars back on, you go, well, if the verbiage is the same, they're assuming the same things, then you have to go with the lower one. Unless you know something about that company that's saying, you know what, they're not going to perform, they haven't performed, something like that.
You know, just my experience, it seems like a lot of these guys just ring things up.
Oh, no,
With change orders.
you're not wrong.
Right.
I mean, we've had a lot of companies, a lot of contractors come in to do projects here, do them low bid. We get started, they get halfway through, oh, well, you know, this is a foot over, that's an extra 10 grand. Or it's this, and that's more money, everything's more money. And we had one contractor come out and do a job for us, who flat out told us, my boss says if it's not exactly her plan, I have to charge you for every last thing. And I shouldn't be not, we probably had more pages of change orders than we did of the actual contract to start with. So, you know, this has been going around in a circle for quite a while. And I've been pushing back for quite a while because I don't agree with it either. But we've gotten to the point where the work that they're proposing is necessary to get finished. We can elect not to do it. But then basically the project's going to stop right here.
So what was the urgency of having this special meeting? Why couldn't you just wait until everything? Just out of curiosity.
Because we need to get this, if we're going to do this at all, we need to get them restarted on this project because they've stopped. So they need to get restarted. We need to go forward with the Walls Group, but we also need to go forward with Closina. And holdup so far has been Closina submitting submittals for the existing treatment plant and the equipment in that plant, or the original treatment plant.
So where are they on that?
So supposedly they can have it to us next week, but if this additional work isn't approved, they're not going to do that because we're not going to be switching to that.
So they're ready to go with the 1 train or the 2 train deal, but they're ready to go with the 1 train deal with the deal that they were initially contracted to do. They're not ready with that? I mean,
So they would be ready with that too, but they haven't submitted those because we have this other option which could conceivably save us both capital costs and operational costs, which is more or less the urgency for this, is just to get this back going so we can get to a point where we can have a final product to submit to the state to hopefully get in a better ranking to receive grant funds to build this within, you know, the next year or 2 years.
so this is like a blackmail job, basically, one way of looking at it. You don't do this, you're gonna give us the extra 400 grand, we're gonna stop the project. And I would really like to know what the timeline was on this 1 train technology. When, you know, as opposed, because I'm really suspicious that they didn't already have this when we first came to them, and they just went ahead and it's like, oh, you know, oh, gee, by the way. It's like me going to, you know, a customer and giving them a product that I know I can make cheaper, or, you know, that can function just as well for less expensive than me not telling them and they're going, oh, by the way, you already paid for all the tooling, you've already got this, but hey, I've got an idea over here. It's unethical to me, if that's the case, but I would sure like to know.
Well, I can find out. It's not, I don't know if that's really here or there, but
Well, it is. If they knew they already had this technology and they could do it with one and they accepted this as the two, they should have came to us up front and said, hey, you know what, there's something that's better, there's less expensive, it's more cost effective to operate, and we advise you to do this. I think that's when you hire a consultant, or they're going out and hiring their people, that's what you pay for. In my opinion, I mean, why have a consultant if all they're gonna do is can't help you, you know, make your product, your project less expensive and more efficient. You know, and by the way, there's another 400 grand we're gonna have to charge it, which is, I don't know, it just seems.
Well, and again, just to make sure we're 100% clear, we had a contract with Closina for the 2 units before we had a contract with Wallstrom. So Wallstrom didn't propose the 2 units,
So, yeah, Closina is the one that has the technology, so I would like to know what, and then we get this theory, well, because of, you know, the Cal Poly project, now we've got this new information. What was the timeline on that? Because you're saying Cal Poly started after us, but we were delayed, and it's just, you know, what's the reality? Because it's, you know, 400 grand's not, it's a significant amount of money.
yeah.
Does that conclude your remarks?
Yes.
So, did I read correctly that there's grants regarding this, the entire amount of this design work?
So we have a grant that we had the original grant for design, or planning and design. We were awarded a subsequent grant to that to add on to the original grant, which should be covering 95 to 100% of this whole thing, of the whole design, including all of our other consultants and all these other little dumb add-on things for all these other requirements from the water board and from the county.
Okay, and my next question is, are we getting a permit, once the design is done, is the permit through the county or through the state? Or
So
both?
there's lots of permits.
Okay,
So the main permit is for the site, which is a permit from the county for a conditional use permit.
okay,
That basically says that we can have a larger treatment plant at our property. The treatment train itself and where it goes, so percolation ponds or holding ponds, those would be permitted through the Regional Water Control Board. Not necessarily a formal permit per se, but basically an authorization to operate type thing. But there's also permits from C.S.D, there's building permits from the county. Potentially Fish and Game could want some sort of a permit if we go into the floodway, which we're not proposing to at this point, but keep going around in circles with it. So there's a lot of different little permits that go along with it, but the main permits are from the county for the conditional use permit and the Regional Water Control Board for the treatment processes.
okay, and then, forgive me, but I seem to have forgotten, what phase is the building of the C.S.D. itself? Not the wastewater treatment, but the building itself? And how many phases are there? Remind me again.
I mean, what phases is it going to be built in?
Yes.
So the building would be built after the treatment processes are built, because it would have to go over one of the ponds.
Okay, So
that would be towards the end of construction.
okay, and how many phases are there?
Theoretically, there's only 2,
Okay,
but depending on the final layout and permitting requirements, there might be more. But at this point, there's 2.
okay, got it. All right, thank you.
So, maybe I misunderstand this, but you're saying the grant money would recapture some of this money that we're spending on this that we're speaking about right now on the 1 train?
Yes.
So once we get this all done and we're approved for the grant money, it's gonna be paid back to the district, right?
Yes.
For what we spent.
Everything covered in the grant would be paid.
Given that, I've built 5 commercial buildings in my lifetime. I've built 3 houses. I've never had a project go off without a change order, even small ones. It's a fact of life. Unexpected things, costs rise, they'll come to you, you can argue about it. I want some of those arguments, but it's just the way it is. Anyway, that answers my question. Anthony?
So I have a couple of questions. So by doing a change order like this, are we gonna have to start over any, I guess, processes that have been done with the county planning department? I know that we have this project, the project goes before the advisory council. I don't know what that's gonna do to all that. We're gonna have to go back before any additional planners.
So we won't have to go back through the advisory council or anything to that effect. What was proposed is for an increased capacity with the associated processes and buildings. So that is still the same. The particular treatment process is a little bit different and a little bit smaller, so it's not not as big, but it doesn't really change how the county looks at it.
Because it's just that a lot of these projects, there's been issues involving another agency, for whatever reason. It's impressive in the wrong way possible. So, the design grant that was talked about, now, if we don't move forward with, it can be used on anything else, or is it whole, were there any other additional plans you were doing before this came up with that money?
So that grant is for this project.
Whole project? Or just
for the wastewater treatment. So it can't be used for anything else.
Right, I know that. I'm saying for the design of it, is that, it's only for design, so it covers any change orders of that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So if this item did not come up, were you planning on using that grant money for anything else?
We wouldn't be using it for anything else.
Like anything else involved?
If at the end, it would be.
I know, it's only for the plan itself, not like kind of other projects, I'm just talking about the plan.
Yeah, it can only be used for the plant. If we came in under what the grant was for, then we would only be reimbursed for what we spent.
Okay.
And I don't know what they do with the rest.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good? Yeah, okay. Perfect. Davis?
Yeah, I have one. One of my concerns is that, and it's gonna go to permitting and so on, and then that 500-year floodplain. What do you have down there, about 3 acres?
It's probably about 6 acres, 10 acres.
How much is in the floodplain?
Oh, you mean how much property we have all together?
No, I'm talking about.
It's like 6 or 10 acres.
Yeah, right, that's-
In the floodplain.
Yeah, there's 6 to 10 acres into the
It's over
floodplain.
half.
So, do you know how many acres are not in the floodplain?
About 5 or 6.
Okay, so you got 5 acres there. Okay, well, one of my pet peeves is the building that you want to put in down there is 9,200 square feet. That's close to a quarter of an acre of it, And I don't know how much has been spent on the design of that building or anything, but it's, in my opinion, that building, that size is totally unnecessary. I'm not saying we can't have an office down there, but I would be concerned if I went to the county and I wanted to build a public building, having it put right in the middle of a treatment plant. That really concerns me. Because you might end up, well, everybody knows what we went through with the substation down there. They having a heck of a time with county permits, so on.
So I know we've talked about this before, but it's been a little while. When we first proposed this project, before we did anything, we went to the county and said, look, this is what we need to do, this is what we want to do, and this is generally what it would look like. We took that to the county, and basically at that time, they're like, well, okay, so you want to have an office down there? How much more traffic is there going to be from the district? How much more traffic is there going to be from the public? We specifically asked them, now this is at the end of a residential street.
Yeah, I know.
Do you have a problem with us having an office there, having a meeting space there that the public would be going to? And they said, no, that's fine. They had no problem with it. All along the way, we brought it up, saying, look, this is a residential neighborhood. This is potentially how many trips there's going to be a day to this neighborhood. Granted, most of it's during the day when most people are at work, but this is how many trips are going through that neighborhood. And again, they didn't have a problem with it. As far as the facility, the office being located at the treatment plant, I personally don't see a problem with it. The county didn't have a problem with it. The county obviously is allowing us to have our office there now, with the public coming to our office now. You know, they have their requirements for accessibility for the public, which are being met. We have our self-imposed requirements for public safety, which are being met. So there's no place along the road where they're just going to come out and say, oh, you know, you can't have that there.
You never know.
I mean, true,
Yeah.
you really don't ever know. But, you know, they have not given any indication in the, 6 years that we've been working on this, that that's a problem.
Yeah, well, like I said, this isn't the place. I haven't seen any other treatment plants where you go down to the treatment plant and pay the bill. You don't pay your bill at the treatment plant and pass roads, you know?
So when we were first looking at this, we went to Madera, to Fresno, to San Luis Obispo, to half a dozen different places where the public goes out in the middle of nowhere to a treatment plant to go pay their bill or to go handle some sort of an issue.
Right.
So it's not uncommon for people to have to go to a wastewater treatment plant or to a water treatment plant. You know, you really